pastor's chat. I didn't give the time because I'm just a bit early. Actually, I was asked to come in to the RCIA class tonight and give a little talk, and about around 8 o'clock, just before to 8. So I thought I'd come on just half an hour early. And this is a time I just come on and usually talk about some ideas or things that I've been thinking about, and give you a chance to ask some questions if you like, or to kind of interact a little bit more if that's something you want to do. So tonight's, it's a weather thing. Like this is Wednesday evening. We're just waiting for a fairly major winter storm to blow in. So 30 to 40 centimeters of snow is what they're expecting. They're forecasting, which is a lot. It's probably the most we've had this year, certainly. And I think if it all comes, it'll be tomorrow's probably a snow day. So it's up early and get the snowblower out, and at least we'll try to clear a path for morning mass. But I may not have very many customers. It's understandable. It's one of those things I was kind of half joking with the people today. Like, we always have mass. We're never going to cancel because we live here, right? So it's not a big deal. But can you come to mass? Well, that's a different story. Obviously, not to risk your health or even your life, being on the roads, and possibly other people's. So you have to make that decision. We'll always celebrate mass. The doors will be open. We'll try to make a basic laneway, but you have to pay some prudence. And tomorrow may be a day for prudence. We'll see. We will stream it, and it'll be online, and we'll kind of keep things basic. So there we are. So that's tomorrow. I think I'm still working on some details with, we're expecting Sister Anna. I mentioned her last week. She now is back in, her body is now back in Toronto, and I think we're moving forward from there. So this is good, right? This is the beginning of that process that will lead to her funeral and really being able to say goodbye. I think it's into next week. I don't have the details yet about when that's going to be. I'm kind of assuming that we're probably into Tuesday or Wednesday of next week. And again, some kind of visitation, probably at St. Mary's, and then the funeral at the cathedral. So that'll be probably next week. But I'll give more details when we know it. We'll probably post it in news and notes. But do pray for Sister Anna, of course, for her soul, and we pray for her community, the servants of the cross, and all the decisions they have to make, kind of as a body and individually. So there we are. Coming off a really good retreat, we had a Catholic Christian Outreach (CCO) had a women's retreat here in the parish on the weekend, and really they did all the content and almost all the planning. Like our role in that as a parish was really just hosting and very, very well run and very well presented, and I think very well received. We had 240 women attending, and I think with the team it was closer to 50, which is about the maximum I think we could do in the church and in the hall for food. And as it just turned out, we used pretty much every inch of space, but very smooth and just very, very well done. It gives you inspiration, I think, when those things happen. And I'd say, just to sell out, when's the last time we heard of a Christian Catholic event that was full? That's really very powerful. And that was coming on the heels of another event that we hosted here a couple of weeks ago, and that was Unlocked. And that was kind of, again, a combination of Divine Renovation and Alpha Canada, and again, CCO doing some leadership stuff. And again, well attended. We had 80 people from a number of different parishes, and so we've had those big events, and this is actually leading someplace. So great stuff. Because Easter's so late this year, we're really late getting to Ash Wednesday. We still have another 2 weeks before we even start Lent that leads to Easter. Now, the upside of that is that by the time we get to Easter, we're probably into spring. And there's something nice about that. I think when we celebrate Easter in the warmer weather, you can actually literally, things will be probably the end of the snow by then. I hope, God, it'll be April. But we'll see. But because of that, that's why all these events are happening. Like, people are trying to get in their events sort of before we start Lent, because that tends to be a little bit more cycled in. And before, of course, we get to Easter time, because that gets very busy, and then we're off into another season. I think this weekend, I know that Knit Ministries has their banquet as well. I think that's next week. And I forget, they were commenting that there's 2 or 3 banquets on, I think, next weekend. So lots of stuff happening. And this is sort of, again, the counter to what we've been talking about as a staff. We had a kind of an extended staff meeting just yesterday, and we're talking, what's our theme? What are we going to do for Lent? And we already have in place, like, Hallow. I think a number of you have already signed up for Hallow. We can still do it again. That was part of the Advent part of that, was to get people used to the app. And now they can kind of do this kind of interconnection where we can kind of put you into small groups online, and you can discuss things. And it was quite successful in Advent, but that was really just a preparation for the content that we want to put through that at through Lent into Easter. And we're also launching a new webpage. This is something we're doing as well, something called Atalma, which is an organization out of Vancouver. And they had some, actually very quite young, pretty devout Catholics who just know a lot about communication and are pretty savvy with media. And so we're switching over, and it's nothing wrong. The old webpage was good. I think we had some help setting it up more local. But this is just that next level of not only to be able to present our stuff, but then give you more content, things you can read and good Catholic sources of information. So all that going on, like it sounds like a lot, right? sorry. I present that to you as like, busy and all things happening. But again, I'm building a contrast here. What we prayed about and thought about during Lent is not to do more but less. So we're already doing a lot. Like we've already done 2 major kind of conferences here in the parish. We're continuing to run Alpha successfully, and we'll have that wrapped up before Easter, which again, being it's so late. And again, it continues to get almost 60 people out for Alpha for the seniors. And with our youth Alpha, about 30 plus young people coming the same night. So again, we're looking at close to 100 people when you add in the people that are helping and on the team. That's pretty good. That's great. And we weren't sure, like we thought, well, 2 Alphas in 1 year, maybe numbers would be down a little bit. But if anything, they've held the same and maybe slightly up. So all good things, going well. We don't need to add more. That was sort of the sense of it. Like Lent is not a time to ramp it up. It's maybe a time to kind of cool things down and really focus in and drill into that sense of Christ's presence, the stillness, the silence. The whole basis of Lent is 40 days in the desert. At the beginning, really, after the baptism of the Lord, before the public ministry, this is where Christ goes into the desert and he spends 40 days, 40 being a kind of symbolic number, 40 days of rain, 40 years in the desert. It generally means a lot, enough. It's like saying, I've been really thinking about this. That's the sense of what 40 means. So let's take this Lent and kind of peel back maybe some of the extra things. I think myself, I'm just going to try to, with the U.S. election and a few things going on with that, kind of got drawn into social media a little bit, especially around X. And it is fascinating to me, some of the things that are happening. I'm saying good or bad. I can stay out of politics for tonight. But it does seem to give you this raw content, but it throws a lot of other things in there too. And I think it'd be a time to sit back from that a bit. I've got a nice thick Michael O'Brien novel. It's called A Cry of Stone. I haven't read it, and when it first came out, I read it like maybe 25 years ago, but haven't since. So I'm just going to read that book, right? Maybe just kind of dial back some of the activities, just kind of even how we're talking about even just our preaching, like, maybe slightly shorter homilies and really focus in on simplicity. We're giving more chances for adoration and more chances for confession and devotion, just to, come to the church and spend time here, just quietly praying. It doesn't have to be a big event. It doesn't have to be yet another kind of cell, I think, of some kind. You get enough of that in your life. We really believe that the Lord's starting to move in people's lives. And as he does that, we, of course, want to draw you together, because there's like sometimes the analogy of logs in a fire. Like you want to keep them close to each other because that's where the flame burns and kind of catches on to each other. But you don't need a blowtorch. Like you don't need to overwhelm people with the good news. Let's sit in it for a while, 40 days, a good amount of time, so that we can celebrate Easter really well and really be ready for that. So that's a thought, just such a simple thing, right? It's not more, it's less. But I remember hearing, Father Allen did a mission on this one time. He noticed a sign that had been painted on the to get people to slow down. And I think it's lament. It's a French expression. It's to slow and to be aware. And I think that's what we want to do the same. So my good friends, I don't know where you're at tonight. I hope you're in someplace safe. I hope you're not traveling, because I think it's going to be a pretty awful in the next few hours into tomorrow. But not to be afraid. And it's the same concept maybe as we head into this Lenten season is to slow down. It's okay to have a snow day once in a while. And I know with kids it's always difficult, but for us, just to take a day, take a week, take 40 days and really ponder your relationship with God and really ask him to kind of deepen that prayer life, that sense of his presence, that good that he's doing in the world, to see these things that are happening. Draw from the good and just get quiet with him for a while. So my advice to you, may the good Lord continue to watch over you. Saints and angels intercede for you. May our Blessed Mother wrap you in the mantle of her peace. And may God bless you and keep you now. In the name of the Father, and the Son,